students. In this video we will see first of all about uniform and non-uniform motion. Let us see an example. Suppose a cyclist at first moves a distance of 5 meter in 1 second, then again it moves a distance of 5 meter in another 1 second, then again 5 meter in another 1 second, and so on. Then such type of motion will be called as uniform motion. An object is said to have uniform motion if it covers equal distances in equal interval of time along a straight line. Now, let us see another motion in which the body or the cyclist first of all travels a distance of 5 meter in 1 second, then in another 1 second it travels 6 meter, then 5 meter, then again suppose 4 meter in 1 second. Then such type of motion will be called as non-uniform because it travels unequal distance and equal interval of time. Remember, if the direction changes, then also it is called as non-uniform motion. Okay? Like suppose it will be uniform only if the body travels first 5 meter, then 5 meter, then again 5 meter in same interval of time, maybe 1 second, and it should be in a straight line as well. Now let us see about distance and displacement. When you move from one place to another, the measure of the total length we cover is called the distance. So you have to travel to town B and the best route is straight up north. But because of road works along the way, we have to take a detour and the distance covered would be something like this. Now, when the road works are completed, the distance need to be covered would be something like this. Distance is measured in meters and denoted as lowercase m. The distance between these two towns is about 20,000 meter, but because of detour, you have to cover a distance of 50,000 meter. Okay, we know a kilometer is 1000 meters. In our example, we can say that instead of 20 kilometers, you traveled 50 kilometers, isn't it? Instead of 20, 50 kilometers. Now, can you say me, is distance a scalar or vector quantity? Think about it. If you say someone traveled 20 kilometers from this point, we can't really tell where they landed up. Maybe here. Okay? Or maybe there. Or maybe they just went around in circles, as it is not specified a direction. It is a scalar quantity. This brings us to the displacement. So what is displacement? Distance with direction is displacement. Distance with direction? What do you mean by that? You made two separate trips to this town. Was the distance covered in both the cases the same? Have a good look. It wasn't. In each of the two cases, the distance was different. The time you took for the detour was greater than the time you could go straight across. But if you call someone to tell them where you are, in both the cases, your location is this town, which is 20 kilometers north of your home. The displacement in both the cases is the same. You travel 20 kilometers north. North shows the direction. And because direction is specified, displacement becomes a vector quantity. Now, look at this example where a mother asks her son to quietly stay where he is while she takes a quick nap. So now the child runs back and forth many a times and returns to the original spot before her mom wakes up. The mom wakes up and sees the child in the same spot. And as she hasn't observed what happened in the last few minutes, she assumes that the child has not moved. The child, being the future expert in physics, has in fact disobeyed her instruction and covered lots of distance, but at the same time, he can argue that he did follow her instructions, lot of distance covered but zero displacement. If the distance traveled is a straight line, the displacement will be the same magnitude as the distance but with the direction provided as well. In most cases in our day-to-day lives, the distance covered is greater than the displacement. Running errands and traveling back and forth between the places cause the amount of distance to build up. Though you may not end up very far from the home, if you really understood the difference between distance and displacement, you should be able to answer the next question. When a passenger travels by taxi, is he charged based on distance or displacement? Taxi charges the passenger based on, distance. If you go to the neighboring town and return in the same taxi, The taximeter shows charge for the entire round trip, although the displacement is 0. Let us see another example where a person first of all traveled from A to B and then from B to C. Let us give an arrow to give the direction. A to B, then from B to C. AB 3 meters, then BC 4 meters. So A is the initial distance and C is the final distance. Final point, destination I mean to say. So let us find out the distance traveled. So distance traveled, definition you know. Distance is the actual length of the path traveled by your body. So that is from AB then to BC. So AB plus BC. The length AB plus the length of path BC will give us the distance. So that is 3 meters plus 4 meters. So it comes 7 meters. So 7 meters is the distance traveled by the person. Now what about the displacement? If you remember the definition of displacement, then displacement is the shortest distance from initial to final position. That is from initial position A to final position C. So the shortest distance means directly A to C. It doesn't depend whether the person has traveled by that path or not. Now how to find AC? By Pythagoras theorem, because that is the hypotenuse. So AC will be square root of AB square plus BC square. If you want to know the Pythagoras theorem, I have given a link in the description below. You can watch it. So here root over 3 square plus 4 square. Root over 3 square is 9, root over 4 square is 16. So root over 9 plus 16, 25, that is 5 meter. But since this is in displacement, we need to write the direction as well. So the direction will be from A to C. Okay. Now let us see what is scalar quantity. A physical quantity that can be described only by its magnitude, that is the numerical value, is called a scalar quantity. Distance is an example of scalar quantity because it only the magnitude, that is total length covered by the body, is required to describe it. Now, time, temperature, mass, speed, density, area, volume, work, energy. All these are also examples of scalar quantities. Now vector quantities. A physical quantity that needs both magnitude and direction to be described is called a vector quantity. Now displacement is an example of vector quantity because to describe the displacement you have to specify both the magnitude, that is the distance covered, as well as the direction from the initial to final position. Velocity, acceleration, force, weight are also some other examples of vector quantities. How do we know whether an object in motion is traveling faster or slower than the another object? Consider two objects, object 1 and object 2, both moving along the same path. Just by looking at their motions, can you tell me which one of them is moving faster? Clearly, object 1 is moving faster in comparison to object 1. Object 2 keeps lagging behind. Hence, we say that the speed of object 1 is more than the speed of the object 2. Speed is that physical quantity which tells us how fast something is moving. How do we define it? In order to know the speed of an object, there are just two things we need to know. First, the distance traveled an object in motion, and second, the time it takes to complete that distance. Consider a car moving on a straight road. First of all, can you tell me the type of motion it is undergoing? Since it's moving in a straight line, it is in rectilinear motion. Suppose the time it takes to reach the other side is 30 seconds. Now consider another car which is similar to the first one. It's also moving in the straight line path adjacent to the first one. The time taken by this red car to cover the same length of road is 40 seconds. The blue car covered the path length in 30 seconds, while the red car covered the same path length in 40 seconds. Which one of them was moving with greater speed? By intuition, you can say that the blue colored car was traveling at a greater speed than the red one. Why? Because the blue car covered the same distance in lesser time. Let the length of this path be 420 meters. This path length is nothing but the distance that the car travels in a given amount of time. Now for each object, if we take the ratio of the total distance covered and the time required to cover the distance, we will get this. This ratio is called the speed of the object. Yes, speed is distance over time. Since this ratio is greater than this one, it means that the blue car traveled with greater speed. Let's bring in a third car which covers the same distance in 20 seconds. So what is its speed then? The speed is 420 meters over 20 seconds, which will give us 21 meter per second. And you can see that this ratio is the greatest of all. Now I want to look at the units. Meter per second is one of the units of the speed. There are many such units of speed that you may be aware of. For example, kilometers per hour, miles per hour, feet per minute, and so on. Let's discuss something interesting now. Look at the example of one of the cars, say car A. The only information I gave you that it covers 420 meters in 30 seconds. That gave us the speed as 14 meters per second. I want you to answer the next question I'm asking you. In this example, can we say that the speed of the car is constant throughout this distance? Are we saying that the car is covering 14 meters every second throughout the path? No, that is not what we are implying. Because maybe the car is moving at a really fast speed initially, then it slows down in the middle, then it stops and then again speeds up. So this speed does not imply that the speed is constant at 40 meters per second throughout. So what is the speed then? The speed we calculated here is the average speed. In fact, in all the three examples, it was average speed. How do we define it then? Average speed is defined as the total distance traveled by an object divided by the total time taken. And speed is a scalar quantity. We have seen that the speed is the amount of distance covered in a given amount of time. It's nothing but distance covered over the time taken to cover that distance. Simply put, it tells us how fast an object moves. Also, if you know that speed and the time taken to cover a distance, we can easily find the distance covered. So if I tell you that I traveled at a speed of 50 meters per second for 1 minute, can you tell me how much distance I covered? I'm sure you have come up with the answer. I have covered a total distance of 3000 meters. But if I covered 3000 meters from this point, am I here? Or there? Or over there? You have no clues as which direction I headed off. This tells us something interesting. Speed offers only magnitude, making it what we call in physics a scalar quantity. It doesn't specify the direction. It just tells us how much ground is covered in unit time regardless of the direction traveled. Scalar quantities have only magnitude and do not specify direction. Do you remember the difference between distance and displacement? Distance just tells us the path covered, but displacement is distance with direction. Say the distance between town A and town B is 20 kilometers. So if we take a 50 kilometer route from point A to B, like this, then the distance covered is 50 kilometers and the displacement is 20 kilometers north of point A. So speed does not tell us the direction. Is there anything that tells us the speed along with direction? Yes, it's velocity, which can be written as lowercase v. Let us see how it differs from speed. What if I tell you that I traveled north at a speed of 50 meters per second for 1 minute? Would you be able to tell where I landed up? Yes, you would. I have covered a total distance of 3000 meters and landed up at this point. Velocity is speed with direction of motion. As such, velocity is direction aware. So when you mention velocity, you must keep track of direction. Something like the car moves south at 55 miles per hour. If you do not mention the direction and just say the car moved as 55 miles per hour, you are not stating the velocity anymore. What if you are stating is the speed? What do you think is the unit of measurement for velocity? The unit for measurement for velocity, just like speed, is meters per second. Now you might ask, why meters per second? The car we drive indicates the speed in miles per hour or kilometer per hour. So why is the unit for velocity meters per second? The established SI unit of measurement for velocity is meters per second, and SI stands for Standard International System of Units. This helps us everyone in the world adhere to one common style of measurement. Imagine the confusion created with different measures like miles and kilometers, gallons and liters, US gallons and imperial gallons. Incidentally, speed and velocity are both measured in meters per second. But do you remember which one is scalar quantity and which one is vector quantity? Yes, speed is scalar quantity and the velocity is vector quantity as the direction is specified. Now let me ask you an interesting question. What is average velocity? To make it a bit easier for you, let's look at the example looked at in our explanation earlier. You have to travel 20 kilometers up north, but because of the road works, you took an alternative path which totaled to 50 kilometers and you took 2 hours to reach the destination. This was your path of travel. Let's make 2 columns here, one for average speed and another for average velocity. Do you remember how we calculated average speed? Yes, it is the total distance covered over the total time taken. So 50 over 2 will give you 25 kilometers per hour as the average speed. Now, what will be the average velocity here? The average velocity depends only on the start and the end points regardless of the path taken. Do you remember we have learnt about displacement? So the average velocity equals displacement over time. What is the displacement there? It's 20 kilometers up north, distance with direction. So the average velocity equals 20 kilometers by 2 hours, which equals 10 kilometers per hour. That is the concept of average velocity. So if you think you really understood this concept, here's a question for you. You are a Formula 1 race car driver. You had a great race and finished the 300 kilometers race in 1 hour and 40 minutes at number 1 position. What was your average velocity? Okay, if you didn't get it, let me give you a hint. This was your start point and finish line as well. They were both the same. You went around the track several times only to eventually finish at the same point where you started. So tell me now, what was your average velocity? First, can you tell me what your displacement is? You started and finished at the same point. So your displacement is 0. 0 divided by the time taken, which is 1 hour 40 minutes equals 0. That puts your average velocity for the race today at 0 meters per second. If however you are trying to calculate the speed, that would be different answer. Try and work it out. Now let us try to understand the concept of mass and weight. Let's accept it. Most of us think that mass and weight are pretty much the same thing. Are they? No, they are not. There is a very simple way to understand the difference. Mass is simply the amount of matter that's present in the object. Now consider 2 situations. One in which object is on the earth and second in which the same object is on the moon. Will the mass of the object be different in these cases? To answer this question, we ask ourselves another simple question. Will the amount of matter present in the object be different in these cases? Absolutely not. The matter in the object is not changing at all, which is why the mass will be the same in each of these cases. The mass of an object remains constant, no matter where it is placed. The standard metric unit of mass is kilogram. We use some multiples of kilogram like gram and milligram as well. Now, what's weight then? How do we understand the weight of an object? Mass is nothing but the measure of how much matter an object has. Weight is the measure of how strong the gravity pulls on that matter. It's the measurement of the gravitational pull on an object. Let's understand this by a simple example. Say there are two places, place A and place B. And their objects have the mass m. In place A, the pull of gravity is x units, and in place B, the pull of gravity is 2x units. Clearly, the pull of gravity is stronger at B. Now understand this well. The mass of the object will be m at both the places, but the weight of the object will be greater at place B because the pull of gravity is stronger. As the gravity is twice as bigger, the weight of the object will be twice as much at place B as compared to place A. So the weight of the object is the measurement of the gravitational force acting on it. Now let us find out the distinguish between mass and weight, the differences. First, according to definition, mass is the quantity of matter contained in a body, whereas weight is the measurement of gravitational force acting on an object. Now let us see the second difference. According to the effect of gravity, mass is always constant at any place and any time, whereas the weight of an object depends on the gravity at that place. Now let us see the third point. Types, according to types of quantity. Mass is a scalar quantity. It has magnitude, whereas weight is a vector quantity, since it has magnitude as well as direction, that is towards the center of gravity. Now let us see the fourth difference. According to the balance used for measurement, mass is measured by pan balance or beam balance, a triple balance, lever balance or electronic balance, whereas weight is measured by using spring balance. Now let us see the next difference. That is according to the value. Mass can never be zero, but weight can be zero if no gravity acts on the object, as in the space. Now let us see the next difference according to the unit of measurement. The mass is expressed in grams or kilograms or milligrams. Weight is expressed in Newton. Sometimes we use kgf as well. Now let us see symbol. Mass is denoted by small m or capital M, whereas weight is denoted by W, that is equal to mg. Thank you, students.